Welcome back to our best practices to work from home. So, this is our third one. The first one was all about technology. The second one was about our environment, setting our environment up for success. These are all super important things that you just might not be thinking about and you might be struggling. The result of these best practices are that it's going to be an easier experience for you. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It will be easier than if you don't follow some of these best practices. More important than that, these really are directly connected to happiness. So if you know who I am, Mary Pat Kavanaugh, I am the owner of Strategic Results Marketing and have been for 20 years. I've owned 9 different businesses. I also own MPK Consulting and Training, where I am a Brene Brown Dare to Lead certified facilitator and a graduate of the High Impact Leadership Program through Cambridge University's Sustainability Leadership Program, or department. So I've got experience with leadership. I've got experience with virtual teams. We've been a virtual team for all of the 20 years. The first 3 years, we actually had a physical office in Prescott, Arizona, United States in the Southwest. And in 2003, 2004, no, 2003, we moved to Utah. And it was then that I took my agency virtual. I decided I wanted a work from home experience. I needed to be home and available to my 4 daughters, who were all young at the time. They were between age, 0 and 12, I think. And it was the right move for us. And it's been the right move for me ever since. And so now we're 17 years into this virtual experience. And over the years, I've created virtual coffee dates, which I'm thinking about doing again. I think during this time, we need to stay connected and have experiences socially. Isolated or social distancing doesn't mean that you need to not be connected to people. We're human beings, and that is an absolute requirement for our sanity. So, but today, our conversation is going to be tips on, I need to bring it up right behind you, tips on setting your business up for success. So this is true whether you are a business owner or you're just in charge of your department, your team. These are 3 tips that we've got for success from a business perspective. So the first one is support. Have a clear chain of command and options to connect with the team. Now, this might seem obvious if you're a bigger organization, but if you're a small business, maybe you don't. You're just used to always being the person. And if you're trying to constantly field things, like, let's empower the whole team, be really clear who's allowed to do what, where is the decision making. This is really key for success in business, but especially when you're in this virtual environment. The next thing is documented systems. And I will tell you that this has been a huge thing for me forever. I've always been a systems person. I love systems. I love processes. My business has been built on being able to figure out a great way to get results and then doing that over and over again with respect to customizing it for each business or business owner. With that being said, documentation of those systems and strategies is key. You need to have how we do something with exact, precise detail for every aspect of it. So you can't leave anything to common sense. For one, the person who usually does that might not be available next week. And 2, there's value in having these systems documented. If you're looking at selling your business down the road, these documented processes that you do that are unique to your business are part of what makes you sellable, and it increases your value. Aside from all of that, if we're just looking at the right now and you're finding yourself in a work from home environment and your business does not have these systems properly documented, start doing it. It will take a little bit longer to get things done right now, and it will last you a really long time. And it'll provide so much peace of mind, not just for you, but for your whole entire team that's working for you. So document these systems. You want them, you can start as easily as doing what we're doing right here. Just doing a screen recording of what you're doing while that person is running through the system. Say they're setting up their corporate newsletter for you. Have them just screen record it. They don't even have to say anything if you can just see what it is. If they can say something on top of that, that's even better. Ideally, you want to build your system so they've got the visual and the written. People process in 3 different ways. They process primarily either, now we can process in a number of different ways, but we all have a primary way that is easiest for us. So visual, kinesthetic, which is the experience, or audio. So if you can have all 3 of those in your documented systems, that's ideal. So a video that is packaged with a step-by-step instructions that are written out with some screenshots. This is creating all of the possibilities of how people process. So you want everything to be properly documented, and then you want those stored online. We are in 2020, and it is time to get up to the cloud. Cloud-based systems tend to be more secure than physical documented systems that are offline. So get online, make sure you're doing proper tactics and strategies to keep your online system secure, like changing passwords on a regular basis, making sure they're secure passwords, things like that. Device management. There's a lot of things that you can do from that perspective, but have these systems, how you run your business, have that information documented step by step and have it stored online. And your employees need to know, and maybe you need to know also where it is stored, how to easily access the information that's stored online. So that's the second tip. Third tip, clear boundaries. You want boundaries as part of your corporate culture, like what is okay and what is not okay. Simple boundaries, like the door behind me, my daughter ran upstairs. She was in the kitchen. There's a door that way. I'm in a room that's in the middle of the house. So there's super important boundaries. Usually it's not a big deal to walk in and out. I am a hyper focuser, so I don't care if people are walking back and forth. When I'm doing a video, I don't want that door opening up. So we've got a really clear boundary, and we're communicating about that. We have boundaries about work hours. Even though we have flexibility to work different times throughout the day, we need to respect each other's work hours. And so communicating, and if you're going to need team involvement, we make sure that we've got overlapping times. Like these are the times where if you're going to have a team situation or need support or be working on a project where you may need to lean on somebody, needs to be during this time. Those outside of regular work hours can be for the things that you just know how to do and you're not going to need any help. So we've got some boundaries set up here in our company that look like that. Now, some other boundaries that I think are really important right now that many people don't think of. Video conferences. We talked about technology, and that's such an important tool to stay connected. That was in the first video. Here's some boundaries around that. Be dressed for work when you show up on video. Working from home does not mean staying in your pajamas. Staying in your pajamas all day long really is directly connected to like a lack of belonging. You're not going to want to turn your video screen on if you haven't showered in 3 days. These go to work, get yourself ready every single day as if you're going to work. And be prepared to be on video with your team. This is how we stay connected. Super, super important. Another boundary is meetings. We want you, and here, I expect you to be logged on and ready and prepared for your meeting. And so that means that with technology, be there 2 minutes early. I don't think that's too much to ask. be there 5 minutes early and we all get to have some conversation that has nothing to do with work. That's super important and healthy to stay connected to those around you. The water cooler experience can still happen when you've got time for it. Communication. How to use communication. A lot of businesses will end up filling up their email right now when everybody is communicating virtually. And so if you've got video conferencing and you've got email and you've got a chat or a Slack channel, or maybe a few Slack channels, be really clear about what is the purpose of each and when to use those. This is super important. Most businesses have never thought about this and they're just kind of throwing stuff out there. And it can be really frustrating when information is being shared in different places and you don't know where to go back and find it. And you can't just yell across the office and say, hey, what was that over there? So respond to chat. So a boundary that we have, if you have a direct chat message sent to you, you need to respond to that. If you're clocked in and working, you need to respond to that within a few minutes. A private message, unless it is labeled as, when you get a chance, I need this information, is usually something that we need right now. So respond to those, be responsive. The other thing that does, it creates and facilitates that connectivity within the workplace. So even though you're virtual, you are still connected and able to communicate back and forth. Group messages, respond with a thumbs up. If there's an at all message that goes out to everybody, I want to know that everybody's seen that and acknowledged it. Acknowledge it with most of your chats have some sort of a, emoticon feature or something. You don't have to say yes, 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 which triggers a whole bunch of emails if you've got email notifications set up. But you can just, put something on there so we can eyeball it. We like to have a sense of humor in our company. And so right now I see a lot of the business groups saying, hey, we need to keep this serious. This is serious. This is a serious time. My philosophy is that if you can't laugh through the serious times, it's going to be really, really rough. So in our communication networks, we are promoting if you've got something silly to share that's relevant, share it right now. Let's keep laughing all the way through this. So have boundaries, whatever it is, have clear boundaries and make sure every post, write them down. And a boundary is what's okay and what's not okay. It's that simple. Write those down and keep it being a fluid document, add to it and let everybody in the company add to it as well so that it's co-created and works for everybody. Let's see, clock in, clock out. This is really important. We want to know when our coworkers are working so we can lean on them for support. And I find that just a simple, hey, clocking in, clocking out. These are simple things that allow us all to go, oh, hi. It's been a great day. We can do that chitter chatter for a second. We can usually, most of my team, they clock in and they spend the next, 15, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour sorting through all the messages, client information, and prioritizing their day. We do have a lot going on, so we do take a lot of time to do that. And stuff happens, technology changes. So we need to be able to address that. But clocking in and saying hello, clocking out so we know that you're gone, so that when we send that chat message, it doesn't just sit there until tomorrow. We won't send the chat message because we saw that you clocked out already. So these are just really simple things that you can do, that your team can do. You can set up these expectations in your business. Now, there was another one, and I was thinking about it earlier. I'll probably remember it and I'll add it into the comments here. But this is the recap for business setup for work from home. This is good for if you're a business owner or if you're just taking yourself home. All of these things are super important and helpful for success and happiness in your work from home experience. To recap, You want to have a clear chain of command. You want to know where to go for questions. Documented systems, make sure those processes, if you don't have these, you can still do that for your own department or whatever you're in charge of, or even just for yourself. If you do end up getting sick in the coming weeks, it's a peace of mind, and there is huge value. There's some employees that feel like, I can't let everybody know how I do what I do because then I'll lose my job if I document it. And that's the opposite of that is true. There is more value. You become elevated in your position if you have your work properly documented so somebody else can step in and do that. I guarantee that your business leaders, management team appreciate this on every single level. Lastly, clear boundaries. It's just helpful for every aspect of business. So next we'll be talking about soft skills and mindset stuff for success from working from home. Thanks.